In this week's Parsha Vayeitzei, we're told that Yaakov Avinu called the Makom HaMikdash Beis Yechiel. Ein zeh ki im Beis Elokim. He called it a house, a bayis. This is the house of Hashem. It's interesting to note that the Malachim and the Mauritian called the Makom HaMikdash, called the place where the Beis HaMikdash is, a Machaneh. Avraham Avinu called it Har, a mountain. Yitzchak Avinu called it Sodeh, a field. And Yaakov Avinu called it Bayis, a house. The numerical value of Machaneh, the first name given to this place, is 103. If you add 103 and 103, you get 206, which is the gematria of Har. It's one out, but with gematrias you're allowed to add one, which includes the name itself. Har, adding up to 205 plus 1 is 206, that's 103 plus 103. If you then take 206 and add 103 again, you get 309. That's the numerical value of Sodeh, a field, which is the name that Yaakov gave to it. If you then add 103 to 309, you get 412, which is the numerical value of Bayis, a house, the name that Yaakov Avinu gave to the place of the Beis HaMikdash. If you then take 103 and add that to 412, you get 515. That is the numerical value of Eschanan, the tefillah, the supplication, the amount of supplications that Moshe davened in order to be able himself to go and build that very place, the Beis HaMikdash. Now, that's very nice. They all, by adding 103, add up to whatever the names they were called. But why always add 103? This is a lesson to us that when we come to build the Beis HaMikdash, a place of Kedusha, when we come to build a place of sanctuary and build a place where the Shekhinah, where the Divine Presence can rest, we must always remember to look back to the foundations and how they were built at the onset. It's not for us to come along and add on our own bricks. However, we must look back to the beginning to see how the foundations were set, and corresponding to that we then add on our own. We can add on our own bricks, but not just on our own. We must look back to how our parents, our teachers, the Avos, the forefathers, how they began, how they set the foundations. Corresponding to that we then add on our own bit, and then we are successful. We are able to build our own sanctuary, our own place to have the presence of Hashem resting.